The R3 Meta from KEF are three-way stand-mount speakers that combine KEF's coaxial design with a separate woofer to deliver outstanding musical detail and satisfying bass for rooms big and small. They look gorgeous, sound gorgeous, and like the other speakers in the KEF Meta line, they feature some clever engineering to help deliver their signature sound. The Meta in this series of speakers refers to Metamaterial Absorption Technology, or MAT. That's a complex, maze-like disc directly behind the speaker, designed to absorb unwanted frequencies and make that sound as pure as possible. Each intricate channel in the MAT structure is designed to absorb a specific frequency, creating something like an acoustic black hole behind the driver, a place where unwanted sound accumulates. KEF says this technology absorbs 99% of that sound, compared to the 60 to 80% absorbed by other designs. Another thing that makes KEF speakers unique is what they call their Uni-Q driver. This is a coaxial design with the tweeter in the middle of the mid-range driver. This allows frequencies from both speakers to reach your ears at the same time, which KEF believes results in more natural sound. They've been developing this Uni-Q driver for years, and the one employed by the R3 Metas is in its 12th generation. It's a 1-inch aluminum dome tweeter mounted inside a 5-inch aluminum cone mid-range driver, and using KEF's distinctive shadow flare baffle ring. That ring serves an important purpose, which is to reduce baffle diffraction that happens when sound waves hit the front of a speaker cabinet, a phenomenon which causes delay in the sound reaching your ears and can take away from the details and nuance in your music. KEF's ring is carefully shaped so that the tweeters don't have a line of sight with the cabinet's edges, virtually eliminating baffle step diffraction for the cleanest, most pure sound possible. KEF has paired the Uni-Q driver in the R3 Meta with a 6.5-inch hybrid aluminum woofer to add some low-end reinforcement. It's made from a paper cone with an aluminum skin, and it's light and stiff, allowing it to move with great precision for tight, accurate bass with a nice punch. Around back, you'll see another unique KEF design element. The R3 Metas have 2 sets of binding posts that allow for bi-amping or bi-wiring, which isn't all that unusual on its own, but instead of using a little jumper between terminals, KEF uses a little dial labeled link that you can turn one way to engage the connection and the other way to disengage it. It works the same way as a traditional jumper strap, which is to connect the 2 sets of terminals when you are just using a single connection. The speaker port is in the rear, so these want to be pulled away from the walls a bit. We classified these as bookshelf speakers on our website, but a bookshelf or a table up against a wall is not where you want to place these, because they put out a good quantity of bass that can bound around in an unpleasing way when they're backed up to a boundary. Case in point, I hooked up the R3 Metas in my home office, which is a pretty compact room. When I first started listening, I was hearing a little boominess and room compression, but that was alleviated quickly by pulling them further away from the wall and towing them out a few degrees. That's not the recipe for success in every room, but I feel confident saying that these need a little room to breathe. Normally, I mix my small subwoofer with my main speakers in my home office system, even if it's just a little bit. But when I first cranked up the R3 Metas, it was apparent that the sub wasn't needed. After I pulled the speakers away from the wall a little, the bass came through in a very satisfying way. It was present enough to satisfy any genre of music, and also had some incredible definition. 2 tracks really made the quality of the bass jump out at me. First was Soothing by Laura Marling. The song starts on sparse drums with a low tom hit that has a certain decay sound I look for. Then there's a silky acoustic bass that joins in and digs really deep, and I always take it as a good sign when I can hear those 2 details clearly. The bass stayed pleasantly in the mix and didn't confuse things when Laura Marling started singing, like it can with some speakers and headphones. Next, I put on Tom Waits' Get Behind the Mule from his album, Mule Variations. It's got a stand-up bass playing throughout the song, and I was pleased by the definition and the quality of that bass. It's another song that can sound muddy in less ideal listening environments, but the R3 Metas give you nice, well-defined bass that works with any music. Back to the Uni-Q driver for a second. KEF speakers that use that driver design are a lot less directional than most speakers I get to try. They give you a little latitude for your listening sweet spot, which suits me fine because holding still while listening to music isn't always in the cards. Some speakers reward you for sticking to a certain spot in your listening triangle, and the stereo mix can sound very different if you're off axis a little, or too far away, or too close. The R3 Metas aren't fussy that way, and they give a very nice stereo presentation as long as you're in front of them somewhere. I mentioned earlier that I ended up listening to them angled slightly away from me, and it had no effect on what was a pinpoint stereo image. Stereo separation is impressive. It's easy to pick out instruments in the mix, and I found myself forgetting the speakers were there after a while, because all the music was spread out along the table that sits between my speaker stands. I kid you not, when I was listening to Mule Variations, it was easy to imagine a tiny Tom Waits and his band standing on that table. And that's what you want your speakers to do, right? To let you get lost in your music and hear your favorite songs sound the best they can. The KEF R3 Metas did that for me, and I think they're a great choice for building a stereo system around. You don't have to just take my word for it. Our customers rave about them in their reviews, and Crutchfield has a cool feature called Speaker Compare that lets you listen to different speakers online. We measure speakers in an anechoic chamber to capture their acoustic properties, and then let you sample them online using wired headphones. It's the next best thing to listening to speakers in person. If you have any questions, get in touch with us, and thanks for watching.